Hello and welcome back to the Movie Memo Recaps. Today we are going to recap a 2018 movie titled All the Devil's Men. Please be advised that there will be spoilers ahead. In the opening scene, we are introduced to Jack, a former American Marine working as a CIA hitman. Jack is currently in Morocco to take out one of his targets. After his morning workout, Jack opens his laptop and learns from his client that his target will arrive at the airport at 11 a.m. and plans to stay at a hotel. His client wants Jack to eliminate the target before arriving at the hotel. It came out that Jack's target, Omar, is a terrorist leader who regularly commits terrorist actions in America. After hearing this information, Jack quickly equips his weapons and hurries to the airport. Not long after, Omar arrives at the airport, escorted by many bodyguards, and proceeds to the hotel. Meanwhile, Jack has been observing Omar and is ready to carry out his plan. At the same time, two local detectives see that Jack is targeting someone and begin pursuing him. While following his target from behind, Jack notices that the investigators are attempting to stop him, prompting a pursuit between Jack and the detectives. During the chase, Jack gets out of his car and rushes down a tight alley, where his client has already prepared another automobile for him. Jack eventually manages to escape the two detectives and travels to Omar's hotel. Jack soon arrives near the hotel, alongside Omar's entourage. Jack uses a sophisticated smartphone provided by his client to lock all of Omar's group's automobiles, which open in 20 seconds. Within that time span, Jack approaches and shoots Omar. After successfully eliminating his target, Jack headed to meet with his client, Lee, a CIA agent who frequently employs him for dangerous assignments. At the moment, Lee informed Jack that he needed to assassinate another target in England and told him to catch a plane to England. When they got inside, they saw two additional hitmen, and she also mentioned that Jack would be working with them to take out the target this time. When Jack heard this, he rejected, saying he was used to working alone and didn't need anyone else. However, Lee claimed that Jack would need them because the target was an illegal arms dealer who sold weapons to terrorists. This arms dealer had even attempted to assassinate the President of the United States, making it difficult for Jack to complete the assignment alone. Lee then displayed a photograph of the arms dealer and stated that his name was McKnight. Furthermore, Lee claimed that the person who knew McKnight's current whereabouts was named Hassan. To find McKnight, they had to first locate Hassan, who would be easier to find. Following that, Lee displayed other photographs of people who commonly associate with Hassan. Jack identified one of Hassan's friends as Dayton after seeing images of them. Jack stated that Dayton was a former British soldier whom he had rescued during the battle in Afghanistan. As a result, Jack decided to travel to Dayton to locate Hassan fast. When they arrived in England, Jack immediately brought the two other hitmen, who were now his companions, to Dayton's home. On the way, one of Jack's companions stated that he knew he had a wife who had just given birth a few days before. He then inquired as to why Jack did not retire and devote more time to his family. Hearing this, Jack stated that he would retire and return to America once the mission was completed. A few hours later, they arrived to Dayton's house, where he joyfully embraced Jack, recalling how Jack had saved him during the battle in Afghanistan. Jack then said that he and his two partners were on a CIA assignment to take out an illegal arms dealer named McKnight. However, before they could find his location, they needed to meet with someone named Hassan. Dayton said that he knew Hassan and knew where to find him, but he considered him a brother, so if Jack was after him, he would not divulge his whereabouts. Jack claimed that their target was not Hassan, but the mafia boss, and that they agreed to interview Hassan without harming him. Hearing this, Dayton finally agreed to take Jack and his two partners to Hassan's house, but only if they had lunch together first. Meanwhile, McKnight summoned the subordinate who had misled him. After asking a few questions, McKnight unhesitatingly ordered his soldiers to kill the traitor. Back to Jack and his two companions, who were now being escorted by Dayton to Hassan's home. However, upon their arrival, they discovered that Dayton and Hassan had plotted with McKnight, resulting in a firefight. During the incident, Dayton killed one of Jack's partners. Just as Jack was about to retaliate, the sound of police sirens pushed him to run with his surviving partner. Soon after, Jack and his partner visited with Lee. At that point, Jack informed that they were now down to two after Dayton betrayed them and killed one of his comrades. Meanwhile, Dayton contacted McKnight and informed him that the CIA had dispatched 3 hitmen to eliminate him, one of whom he had already slain, leaving 2 behind. Hearing this, McKnight directed Dayton to immediately dismiss the remaining 2, giving a substantial bonus in exchange. McKnight discovered that Dayton owned a security company, which he had hired to protect him during his stay in England. Returning to Lee, she has lately discovered that Dayton owns a security company, which confirms his status as McKnight's guardian. Lee also discovered Dayton's secret office and promptly approached Jack and his last partner, Samuelson. Lee then told Jack and Samuelson everything they needed to know about Dayton before sending them to the Dayton's company office to learn more about McKnight. Jack attempted to contact Dayton while en route to his covert office. Jack was disgusted with Dayton for conspiring with a mob lord after they were connected. Dayton responded that it was just business, telling Jack to return to America before he was killed. However, Jack retorted that he would kill Dayton first and then bury him. In short, Jack and Samuelson sneaked into Dayton's secret office to investigate McKnight's whereabouts. However, Dayton saw through CCTV that his office was being invaded and ordered his guys to get there right away. Returning to Jack and Samuelson, they resumed their hunt for information. Unfortunately, they discovered nothing. So Samuelson and Jack decided to plant a bomb before they went. After leaving the office, Samuelson advised Jack to observe Dayton's reaction from a distance. At the same time, Dayton and his forces arrived, forcing Samuelson to set off the device they had planted. Dayton was outraged when his office was destroyed and promised to kill Jack and Samuelson as soon as possible. While Samuelson and Jack appeared content, they took a detour to escape. An hour later, Jack asked Samuelson to use his phone to send a message to Dayton. When Dayton received the message, he immediately instructed his hacker subordinate to monitor Jack's phone. After identifying it, Dayton ordered all of his forces to prepare to pursue Samuelson and Jack immediately. On the other side, this was part of Jack's plot to entice Dayton's troops to join him. Jack then instructed Samuelson to contact Lee to determine the greatest spot for them to engage freely. After inspecting numerous areas, Lee proposed they lure Dayton's troops to an abandoned factory near their base. She would also dispatch 2 CIA agents to help them. Shortly later, Jack and Samuelson arrived at the abandoned facility, where they discovered the 2 CIA agents sent by Lee. Without wasting time, they prepared their guns and entered the factory, led by Lee. Shortly, Dayton's forces arrived at the plant and began creeping inside. As the combat was about to begin, Lee reminded Jack and Samuelson to capture Dayton alive because he knew McKnight's whereabouts. However, Lee's links were suddenly severed, leaving her powerless to direct them. Fortunately, during the battle, Jack and Samuelson managed to overpower Dayton and immediately captured him. Unfortunately, Samuelson was shot, forcing Jack to prioritize saving him as the crisis worsened. Dayton took the opportunity to escape. As a result, they both chose to leave the factory. An hour later, the 2 CIA operatives sent by Lee were discovered dead as a result of the event, while Dayton seized one of the CIA agents' phones and called Lee. When they connected, Dayton threatened that after killing Jack and Samuelson, he would seek her down. However, Lee said that the CIA would never stop looking for Dayton unless he decided to assist. Hearing this, Dayton stated that he would collaborate with the CIA if it was mutually advantageous. In short, Dayton met with Lee at a specific place and claimed that he was willing to turn over McKnight if she paid him twice what McKnight was paying him. Dayton also requested that Lee hand over Jack and Samuelson because they had wrecked his corporate office. Lee quickly agreed because she had a personal hatred against McKnight and would go to any length to get him. The following night, Lee assigned Jack and Samuelson to assault a boat by the lake, believing McKnight was sheltering there. Jack and Samuelson then approached the boat and took down numerous guards, but McKnight was not present, only a couple of his men. As Jack and Samuelson were about to leave, they were unexpectedly surrounded by Dayton's forces, resulting in a gunfight. Dayton actively inflamed Samuelson during the battle by taunting him. Samuelson, feeling humiliated, reacted by coming out of cover and firing in all directions. Unfortunately, Samuelson ran out of bullets and was besieged by Dayton. Samuelson then challenged Dayton to a hand-to-hand battle, which he accepted. While Samuelson was dominating the battle, Dayton pulled out a gun and killed him. Meanwhile, Jack, now alone, decided not to take any chances and fled, especially because Dayton's forces were still numerous. In short, Jack returned to Lee and informed her that Samuelson had died and that McKnight was not on the boat near the lake. Lee immediately expressed regret for informing them about McKnight's likely presence. However, Lee had purposefully lied to Jack and Samuelson to guarantee that they were surrounded by Dayton's forces, but Jack had not suspected that Lee and Dayton were working together. McKnight, on the other hand, was criticizing Dayton for failing to kill Jack. McKnight was unhappy because he had given Dayton a large sum of money, yet the mission failed. It turned out that McKnight was terrified of Jack, who had a reputation for being harsh, and he didn't want Jack to emerge and murder him. Hearing this, Dayton responded by assigning his 2 best soldiers to watch him, while Dayton and the remaining troops would immediately chase Jack. Back to Lee, who proposed to Jack that they locate Dayton's family, assuming that if his family were kidnapped, Dayton would divulge McKnight's location. After a few minutes of searching, they discovered the address of Dayton's family residence. Initially, Jack was hesitant since he did not want to include innocent individuals in the task. Lee, on the other hand, was able to persuade Jack to go along with her plan and leave right away. However, after Jack's departure, Lee sent a message to Dayton, recognizing that the entire situation was a trap for him. Dayton, feeling faked by the trap, instructed some of his men to intercept Jack on his approach to his family home. In short, Jack was attacked on the way by several of Dayton's men. Fortunately, Jack could handle them all with ease. Jack even kidnapped one of Dayton's men to discover how they knew he was going to Dayton's family house. At that point, the terrified man admitted that Lee had provided the information. Knowing this, Jack snatched the man's phone and sent a message to Dayton, claiming that he had been slain by his men. Dayton was thrilled to get the message and now intended to trap McKnight and hand him over to Lee. At that point, Dayton called Lee and informed her that Jack had been killed and asked her to travel to McKnight's hideout. But first, Dayton urged her not to forget to bring the payment as arranged. Shortly, Dayton's forces arrived at McKnight's refuge. However, when they attempted to surround him, they discovered that he had already escaped, and the two men Dayton had ordered to protect him were killed. Lee arrived at the same time and was plainly disappointed at Dayton for sacrificing Jack only to let McKnight to escape. Dayton attempted to soothe Lee and contacted his guys to search out McKnight. Dayton's hacker eventually discovered that McKnight was traveling to a local airport. At the same time, Lee received a phone call from McKnight and was instructed to turn up the volume. McKnight appears to have admitted that he was aware of Dayton's conspiracy with Lee from the start. Additionally, McKnight indicated that Dayton was being faked by Lee since she could never pay the amount he requested. This was because Lee was carrying out the assignment for personal vendetta rather than an official CIA mission. Lee carried a vendetta toward McKnight since he murdered her father. Lee then kidnapped one of Dayton's guys, proving McKnight's assertion. Shortly, Jack emerged unexpectedly, causing mayhem. In this incident, Lee managed to eliminate all of Dayton's men while Dayton was still fighting Jack. Jack eventually managed to kill Dayton. After beating Dayton's group, Lee and Jack went to the airport to pursue McKnight. Despite knowing Lee had misled him, Jack maintained a professional demeanor because, after all, she was a client who frequently hired him. Lee then apologized to Jack multiple times, but he opted to remain mute. McKnight, on the other hand, had arrived at the airport and was preparing to fly from England to Russia. However, his men assured him that the plane they had rented would arrive in 20 minutes. Shortly, Jack and Lee arrived near the airport, and Jack instructed Lee to stay in the car while he completed his final mission to eliminate McKnight. Jack then infiltrated the area, planting a bomb. At the same time, the sound of the plane arriving to pick up McKnight was audible. McKnight spotted Jack as he prepared to pursue him, resulting in a firefight. Jack eventually managed to blow the device he had planted before rushing to chase McKnight down the runway. Jack then attacked McKnight's men, sparking another intense shootout. During this time, McKnight attempted to board the plane and pushed the pilot to leave immediately. Fortunately, Jack was able to incapacitate McKnight's bodyguards and attempted to stop the plane using a nearby truck. Realizing that his jet was blocked, McKnight emerged and attacked Jack. A goon nearly crashed Jack with another car, but he narrowly escaped. Lee seized the opportunity and shot McKnight, catching him off guard. Regrettably, multiple bullets struck Lee. Before she died, Lee thanked Jack for his assistance in avenging McKnight. As a result, Jack was disappointed that he would not receive any compensation because Lee had died. However, Jack hurriedly boarded the jet and told the hired pilot to fly him back to America. Finally, Jack was ecstatic when he saw all of McKnight's money inside the plane. Thanks for watching. If you are new, don't forget to subscribe for more of these recaps. Until next time, have a nice day.